Hello and welcome to Marketing for Coaches, Build Your Seven-Figure Impactful Empire, where you can soon hope to reach hundreds of clients every month who are already looking for your help and also build your seven-figure business. Doesn't matter if you're just starting out or you're already at a respectable figure like six figures, you will soon be able to reach to the seven-figure level with the steps I'm going to outline for you. So in this webinar, we're going to be going through an introduction to marketing strategies for coaches, identifying your target audience, building your personal brand, effective messaging and storytelling, creating engaging content, social media marketing, email marketing and lead generation, search engine optimization, paid advertising, sales funnels and conversion optimization, and measuring marketing performance. And then I'll give you a few more takeaways that you can implement today. And I've got some great bonuses for you throughout the video. So by the end of this video, you will possess the proven and repeatable steps you can apply today that have built seven-figure coaching businesses. This is proven, it's just steps you need to follow. I want you to basically stop procrastinating, just take action. I'm a big believer in taking radical, imperfect action and just getting on with it. It's so easy to get bogged down with basically shiny object syndrome, whether it's new tools, new software, and you always get this sense of, which one do I pick? What do I go with? And you stay in paralysis. You don't actually do anything. When in reality, Dan Kennedy famously said, when things are good, focus on sales and marketing. When things are bad, focus on sales and marketing. And this is basically what this presentation is all about. Avoiding the fluff, avoiding the overly complicated technicalities, and just getting on with what works through proven steps. So, introduction, marketing strategies for coaches. Now, I basically did this as a slide of what you probably thought this presentation was going to be about. A long, lengthy webinar with lots of text and definitions. Coaches are professionals who provide guidance and support. I know what it's like. You probably signed up for loads of free webinars before, and you get all this fluff at the beginning. We are not doing that today. Now, I do have a big shortcut for you. The easiest step to building your seven-figure empire is to already target what people are searching for. Now, people think when it comes to niching down and finding your sort of product market fit, it's got to be a bit more ethereal. You go with your intuition, and then maybe over time you start testing and learning, seeing what sticks. In reality, 95% of us, when we have a problem, we search on Google. And there are tools out there that show us exactly what people are searching for on Google, and that includes for coaching services. Now, the tools that actually show you these details can be quite technical and quite expensive. What I've done is put together for you a PDF of coach keywords. So these are the search terms that people looking for coaches have actually put into Google. So I'm going to exit the presentation because what I want you to do now is go onto Google and search Power Lever Method. That's my book all about this process. But you don't need to buy the book at all. Instead, I want you to go one below to powerlevermethod.com, and then at the top, we do have the Power Lever audit where I can audit your website for you if you are already at six figures. But otherwise, I want you to go to free coach SEO keywords and click on that. Now with this download, it's absolutely free. You will then get this PDF where we've crunched all the data and found all the searches that people are making for on Google for coaching services. So perfect example here, relationship coach. 2,900 searches per month and a keyword difficulty of 17. Now, when you use this document, you should just be able to use Control F or Command F in order to find something related to your niche. So if we look at life, obviously we've got hundreds of life coach related keywords. So now I want to look at executive. So here's a perfect example. Best executive coaching programs, 90 searches per month. A difficulty of 23 is out of hundreds, that's quite low. And a CPC, that's the cost, that's what people are paying per click for Google Ads. Now, we're not worried about Google Ads right now. We're focusing on organic reach through essentially just blogging. So by having a page or a blog on best executive coaching programs, and of course you can put your own program at the top, then you can rank for those 90 searches every month who are already looking for the best executive coaching programs. And someone searching for the best, that's not going to be a lowballer, that's going to be your perfect client who's ready to invest and has got the budget ready to go. So it's all in a simple PDF for you. Do use the Control or Command F to actually find some of your niche, and hopefully this will get you going on the right path. The reason I mentioned this early on is so many people will come up with their idea for a coaching business and then have to go and try and find their audience and basically tell people that this product exists. It's much easier to actually build a 7-figure coaching business if you're already fulfilling already satisfying a demand that's out there and already hungry. So you can already find the gaps in the markets using this method and provide exactly what people already want, rather than something coming up with something new and then having to sell them on why they want it, tell them why you need this, when these people, they already know what they want, so just give them that. So enough of my pitch there. Let's go back to the presentation. So again, go onto Google, search power lever method, and that's how you can then download that list of keywords. So we've already covered this a bit with identifying your target audience, but more traditional coach marketing does talk about how you basically want to think about your audience profiling in terms of how old are they, what do they do, and your customer avatar. People do recommend that you really dig down and identify that person. Obviously, you've got age, gender, location. Those are quite easy ones. But then you get down to more detailed levels of targeting. What do they do at the weekends? What do they do for work? Things like that. And generally, the more you niche down, they do say niche down until it hurts. Again, if you're not using the power lever method to do this, then you probably will actually need to sort of test and learn over time. It took me quite a long time to work out that high ticket coaches over 6 figures were my niche for my done for you SEO agency. But that was a long period process. I started off with more of a general SEO agency and then identified that coaches over 6 figures were my favorite clients and my best market. So it's probably going to be the same sort of thing for you. If you've already got a functioning coaching business, then you can definitely dig down and do an 80-20 analysis. What 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your clients? Which are your favorite 20% of your clients? And therefore, are there any clues there in terms of, again, broader demographics, but also the more niche commonalities? So if I were to get 100 more clients like this, how would I do it? And also, what does that business ultimately look like? So it may well be that there's a certain profession, a certain industry you really like, in which case you can then work out how do those people hang out? What social media platform are they on? What conferences do they go to? What associations are they part of? Those are really powerful. Next, building a personal brand. So again, this does kind of come down to what I showed you with the power lever method, in that if you can pick a niche like that and justify that people are searching on Google and YouTube for it, then you can dominate that niche once you know what it is. So in my case, I'm producing loads of content both around SEO and around coaching because I want to dominate the SEO for coaches niche. Now, the great thing about building a personal brand is it's evergreen. Now, this is for people generally who already know about you. So I normally talk about trying to target the people who don't yet know about you, because therefore they can then discover your personal brand and then you can sell to them. But if you're only selling to people who know about you, there's not much value in that. There's this huge market of people who don't know you yet. So trying to show up for them, that's why I'm saying you want to rank for best coaching programs, best executive coaching, etc. But then you need a personal brand, because the internet and buying online is all about trust. And I'm sure you found this before. It's only recently I've realized just how important that trust is. In my early days with the agency, I actually had a personal referral from someone, but they still said to me that they were going to go with this much bigger, more established guy because he had this enormous personal brand with YouTube videos, expertise, and there's just so much expertise demonstrated out there on the internet. Whereas I was quite laconic, quite restrictive with my approach, and that I said, I just deliver results. I'm not building a personal brand. I'm not this big agency. I just grind out good results. Therefore, I'm not going to be distracted with marketing and advertising. Quite quickly, I had to turn around that mentality, because the great thing about personal brand is trust. So if someone Googles your name, what do they see? If someone discovers you through your social feeds, what do they see? But this thing about positioning, authenticity, that's all, and messaging we'll come on to later. That's also quite important, because the best way I heard this described before, well, it actually came from a friend, and he said, people buy from people. And that was a massive knowledge bomb for me, because it occurred to me that most of my clients that I really get on with are people who I've connected with on an individual level. And you do notice again is that trust thing. Naturally, you can read whatever psychology book you like. We like and emulate people who are like us. So therefore, if you're trying to sell to someone and you know who that person is, then you want to speak and sound like them. Now, I'd probably say the easiest way to do this is to make sure you're targeting people who are like yourself rather than trying to adapt yourself to be a different way. So obviously, I'm quite distinctive. I'm known as the SEO Jesus. I'm into metal. I'm into goth. So if I go to conferences, I'll generally just wear a band t-shirt because that draws out my fellow metalheads, and we're naturally going to have a better conversation there than someone who's there in a suit and tie, short back and sides, and wants someone strictly professional who is strictly a certain way. Whereas again, I'm a bit more maverick, a bit more hippie. I get the great results, but it's based on communication and understanding rather than a hustle mindset. So I'm going to glaze over this slide quickly, but yeah, positioning. So it's basically, what are your values? Stand for those values in all your marketing. So building that personal brand, you basically want to be everywhere. Generally, early on, it is recommended though that you do stick to a single channel. So I know Facebook is definitely one of the best in the coaching niche. So most of the coaches that I know solely operate through Facebook, and they'll basically do these big story-driven posts. So they're quite lengthy, and you basically want to use the hero's journey, which is basically, here's a struggle I encountered, here's how I overcame it, and now here's how I'm crushing it. And it's a really clever mechanism because if you're just constantly posting like on LinkedIn, here's why I'm great, etc. Yeah, everyone love me. No one really cares about that. Whereas if there's an actual issue you faced, it's very vulnerable and there's a lot of trust built in that, and people are much more likely to buy in. This person's like me, they've also had these struggles, but they have a solution. Here's how you overcame it. So it's kind of a humble brag. You're boasting about how you fix something. It means you don't come across as being really boastful. And then at the end, you just want a little call to action there. Normally, it's just DM me, comment below, something like that. And you want to build a little bit of scarcity. Don't just say, comment below if you want this or whatever. Because the chances are you're talking to a very small number of people. Not many of those actually interact with your post. So I know those people who say they don't really get any engagement on their social media posts, but it's still sold 10 grand's worth of products through them because the one person that actually resonated has actually gone through and messaged you and bought from you right there and then. They've not commented saying, thank you very much, I'm definitely going to buy your program. So again, it's that thing of you're targeting the 1%. It goes back to that customer avatar thing, that if you're reaching out to 100, 200 people, you're only realistically going to get one person who's really truly qualified for that offer. What else can I tell you about personal branding? So once you've dominated that one channel, just make sure you've got a regular cycle. And the great thing about those channels is you can basically build these communities. So certainly early on, if you're below six figures, what I recommend is go to in-person events that are basically related to your target market, and basically just build connections, get them on Instagram, Facebook, etc. And over time, you'll build a really good network. I often joke that Facebook is actually my CRM, and it's because I built my business by going to in-person events, adding people on Facebook. I then post on Facebook my case studies, these kinds of story-driven posts, in amongst my usual personal life. Like I say, people buy from people, so I really don't have a problem with mixing in business and pleasure in that way. Big coach Shamika Tankerson actually gave me that advice, saying just put all your posts on public, and it doesn't matter. Your clients will see your personal life. That's fine. You're just sort of building. Why are you posting things that you want your friends to see that you don't want your clients to see? I mean, it's down to personal preference. But from my perspective, certainly, if I'm willing to put it on the internet at all, then I don't mind if it's part of my brand, goes to my clients, and it goes to my friends as well. I think I'm more concerned actually about hitting my closer friends with my business stuff. But in reality, your true friends will be happy for you doing well for yourself and building this impactful project. So I think that basically covers the personal brand. And like I say, using platforms like YouTube and Google, that's really powerful for that. Now, YouTube and a lot of social platforms like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, they're all about engagement. So basically, you just need to get maximum engagement on those resources early on. And one of the best ways you can do that, like I say, it's a bit like rolling a boulder up a hill. But if you do have an existing list of of people, then that's great. So in my case, I've got my Facebook CRM, if you like, and I can then promote my YouTube videos on there. That gets the engagement up, which then means that video ranks and I can get more engagement on YouTube. If you don't already have that, then probably the best thing would be to look at things like groups, even cold interactions. If you can truly build value, and that's the key thing here, all your posts need to have some sort of value about them in order to get that engagement. So YouTube's been really good for me. Google's been really good for me. So deliver value, because what you're ultimately selling is the execution and implementation, the actual results. Effective messaging and the storytelling. Now, I've pretty much already covered all this. The whole point about crafting compelling messages is basically you're trying to address your target market's pain points. And now if you can actually build those into your own messaging, your own brand, then you're winning. Now, like I say, that hero's journey approach, that is the most powerful, basically. I've got a friend who runs a LinkedIn marketing agency organically. So they'll take over your LinkedIn profile and they'll just say post twice a day. You want an image and you want a fairly long form story-driven post about here's a struggle, here's how I overcame it, here's how you can too, basically. And then the call to action, set up a call, whatever. And that's exactly what you need to do on a regular basis. So most of the coaches I work with, this has become like a muscle memory. So basically just out and about in your daily life, you'll end up encountering these little situations where you realize, oh yeah, and that relates to this thing. Laura Belgrave, great copywriter in the coaching space, was talking about this with emails, and that it doesn't matter whether it's social posts or emails, you always want to make this look like it's coming from a friend, because content works really well, but not advertising. What do I mean by that? If someone's, I say, just posting on LinkedIn, here's why I'm great, here's why I'm great, no one cares. If you then post something like, here's what I did today, and then this happened, but then here's an arc, here's how it results in a positive thing. This was just like that time I was trying to make my funnel work better and it wouldn't happen. And then this happened until this one trick, and then it all worked out. That's suddenly interesting. I've literally been at events where I've been at a digital nomads conference, and a friend mentioned to me saying, your posts are great and so on. And he said, I was reading about this thing you did once, and but then it turned into like a business ad. And I was like, he got me. And that's kind of what you want to do. You don't want to bait and switch. You just want to very cleverly weave your offering into your experience. And same thing with emails. So you want the email to look like it's from a friend. So, hey, name, James. I was just in a local cafe, and so what are we talking about here? I don't know. I wanted a glass of wine, but I wasn't going to go for the cheapest bottle of wine on the menu. So I went for the second cheapest bottle of wine on the menu. And this is my favorite metaphor for talking about premium pricing. So if I were a business coach or something like that, we're talking about the importance of having value-based pricing, then you can relate it to everyday things like that. No one buys the cheapest option. They want to buy at least the sort of good in-between option, and some will buy the premium option. That's good advice for your coaching business as well. So price for the customers you want. Don't lowball yourself. Now, creating engaging content. Again, this is as much as we've already said. So keep it story-driven. You want these sort of powerful messages. So overcoming a struggle. Look at Star Wars, look at the ancient classics. All big stories tend to follow the same framework. And that's exactly what you can do today to great effect, even in a little Instagram post. So if you're doing anything like Reels, anything like that, same sort of thing. You want the compelling hook that actually gets someone to pay attention, but then take them on a journey. I'd say the other major content is how-to content, where you're just delivering value. So people say to me they love my talks when I'm at a conference and my YouTube videos, because I just sit down and tell them how it works, how to do it. And to me, it just came natural. I thought, isn't that what everyone should be doing? But most people, they'll say they're going to give you this talk on everything. And in reality, it's just a cleverly disguised sales pitch where they're saying, you can do this, you can do that, but they don't actually say, here's how you do it. So I highly recommend you do that. So it doesn't matter what platform you're using, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, you want to just demonstrate knowledge. And 99% of your audience isn't going to buy from you. But there's going to be a 1%, the premium market, again, who they don't have time to deal with that. They just want you. You've proven that you're the right person to do it. So they're saying, forget anything else, I just want you. Someone mentioned me once in a mastermind, actually, that before I wrote my book, they said writing a book is one of the best things you can do to get sales. Not obviously there's a whole myriad of benefits, but even without anyone buying the book, it's not unusual for companies to search for an author who has written about a topic they're trying to achieve, and then they'll just hire the author as a consultant. So demonstrate knowledge. Again, it's that personal brand thing. Just put yourself out there. Now, most of these, social media, like I say, it's all about engagement. But when it comes to blogging, then that's where the power lever method comes in, I mentioned earlier. So with blogging, you don't want to just write about this way. You don't want to do the story-driven thing, because Google is basically just a machine. If you write, again, I was in the cafe and I wanted to buy a bottle of wine, but I didn't buy the cheapest bottle of wine. I bought the next cheapest bottle of wine, while my friend who didn't want to take the risk and wanted the very best option got the most expensive bottle of wine. Then that'd be a great post for something like social, where you have an existing audience. But for blogging, a lot of the time, the whole point of a blog is to basically get traffic from Google. Now, Google's just a machine. If you're writing about I sat in a cafe drinking wine once, you're not going to rank for any business coaching terms. So you need to use my keyword list or use a keyword tool and find how people are searching for you. And the most valuable content in terms of that kind of SEO is literally what we call commercial keywords. So if you are a business coach, you want to rank for business coach. Obviously, that's going to be very competitive, but you then can dig down and find these longer tail ones like how much is a business coach? Where can I find a business coach? Who is the best business coach? And then you can go up the funnel a bit and start targeting basically questions where it's, how can I perfect my pricing strategy? How can I achieve X? How can I build the best sales funnel? Now, these are all guesses, but in reality, if you go into one of these keyword tools, you can find exactly what people are searching for. And more importantly, analyze the competition. Position 1 in Google gets double the traffic of position 2, which gets double the traffic of position 3 in Google. So there's not really any value being on page 2, 3, 4. You really need to identify something low competition with some volume and just smash it for that keyword. So I had an insurance client once where we were trying to rank for home insurance and obviously getting nowhere. They were spending 10 grand a month on paid ads. But what I did, was we dug down and found a few niches of certain types of home insurance, certain type of buildings, and produced content based on those. I say produced content, it was a blog. We produced a few blog posts targeting these niche queries. Still a couple hundred searches a month, but very low competition. Within 2 weeks, the phone started ringing. Now, 3 years later, the great thing about blogging is it actually improves over time. The average position 1 result in Google is about 2 to 3 years old. When you first write a blog, in the first 3 to 6 months, not a lot happens, and then it starts to grow from there. So this is why I recommend starting SEO, blogging, and using the power lever method very early on. That's because it takes time to actually build up. So as soon as you launch your website, get your content out there, and then keep doing all this other stuff on the side. Get your first 10 clients using in-person events, cold email, anything like that. But get those blogs out there so that when you're ready to scale, you've got that content ranking and already aged in Google. And now to get back to where I was. So yeah, basically publish blog posts. In the case of that insurance company, 3 years later, they're making 50 grand a month from a couple of blog posts. That's from spending 10 grand a month and making 0 sales. But we wrote those blog posts, 2 weeks later, the phone started ringing. And that's what built their business. It's now worth multi-millions. So target the searches people are already making. Write your blogs based on that. And then you'll succeed really, really well. Videos and YouTube, that's kind of an in-between where do try and fulfill existing demand. So again, use the keyword tools. What are people searching for? And then produce a video based on that. But to actually get that video ranking, you really need lots of engagement. So you basically want people to watch, like, comment, subscribe, all of those. And there are various tricks you can perform there to fully optimize your video and get traction there. Now, social media marketing, like I say, I'm not a huge fan. I find grinding out on social media all the time, it's a very long game. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think it's much better for that personal branding element when you already have an audience and you then want to nurture that some more. It's also quite difficult to actually outsource because most coaches I talk to, they're completely burned out with this constant grind of trying to knock out these perfect story-driven social posts all the time. That's not to say not to do it. I've definitely seen success stories, but it is a lot of work. So social, I do find paid social can have its benefits, and you definitely want a presence somewhere. But again, I think be specific. See if you can actually build your network of coaches, of coaching clients, and then market to them with these posts. So you already have a warm audience. I wouldn't necessarily do just posting out into the void, hoping that it sticks, unless you can join some sort of pod. So there's LinkedIn pods, Instagram pods. These are ways to drive big engagement on those platforms for your target market. So again, there's a few strategies there, but it's not my favorite. I think if you've only just started your coaching business, then I'd say just post it on Instagram. I don't think you're going to be getting a lot of DMs anytime soon. I may be wrong. There's always going to be exceptions, but I'd much prefer an approach like SEO and in-person networking. Now, email marketing and lead generation. This gets talked about a lot and it gets overcomplicated. Now, basically, as part of your, when you first build your sort of core offer in terms of who is my target market, what is their problem and pain point, and you want to build an offer for them. Now, that should be basically your coaching program. But I also recommend you actually pull it back a bit and think, what is the small sampler of this coaching program that I can provide that still delivers value, that basically means you can just get their email address and phone number off them. So it could be any sort of download PDF, but again, you really want to focus on this dream outcome. So there's all sorts of options there. I actually recommend you don't go away and start writing an ebook that you don't even know is going to sell. I highly recommend you rapidly test and implement here. So again, in my book, actually, The Power Lever Method, I talk about ways of doing this. What I basically recommend is design all the graphics, the front end, whether it's on your website or on your socials, promote these products, especially using mockups. You can use all these online mockup generators. So you can take the cover of your proposed ebook and get a cover mockup made of it. Alternatively, you could do things like, if you've got PDF, you can turn that into more of a widget. People like the look of an actual object. So in all your advertising, make sure there's an actual object. I know paid ads marketers who do very well at this. And they always say, even if your product is virtual, make sure that your ads actually show some sort of thing that they can possess. That's just how we're wired. So I say test these rapidly. Put them on your socials, put them on your website, see what sticks. Remember, it's free. You're under no obligation really to actually provide this. If you say, DM me to secure yours, whatever, and they don't get it, then it's not going to be a major issue. Of course, if you do find something that sticks, then you can go away and produce that really quickly. But I can tell you, I've got a spirituality website that gets 10,000 visitors every month, all through SEO. And we've tested all sorts of different lead magnets, opt-ins. I've had ebooks written, and we've always had the same thing where it's always this new idea is going to be the one that works. We'll go away and produce it. We're all really excited. We put it out there, and no one's interested. So I think do not underestimate just how uninterested people can be in your next lead magnet. So definitely come up with 5 or 6 ideas. You could do 3 chapters of a book, cheat sheets, checklists. I think for coaches, probably the easiest one is actually just some sort of discovery call, coaching call, and just say it's 10 minutes, half an hour, whatever. It's free. And it could just be like an Ask Me Anything. It could be a really good way to actually find out the pain points of your audience. Now, whatever you do, you basically want this opt-in form. If you're using socials, then like I say, your social media is your CRM. At an early stage, you don't need to worry too much about that. Down the line, though, especially when you're using your website and paid channels, this sort of thing, and you want to send everyone to the same place, then you want some sort of opt-in form. Now, I always recommend keep it really simple. Just use self-hosted WordPress.org with a plugin called Elementor. This basically turns your WordPress website into a really easy drag and drop interface, like Wix, Squarespace, but without the limitation of those platforms. It makes my heart sink every time I audit a client and they're on Wix and Squarespace. These are really good visual website builders, nice and easy to use, but the cost of that ease and effectiveness is you're sort of trapped into their platform. You can't really customize it. It's not very flexible. There's issues with the speed, things like that. Whereas WordPress, it's open source, you can do whatever you like with it. There are all these third-party plugins, you can build it to whatever you want. And that's not the same as the backend. If you've got obviously a backend for either coaching, courses, then you can use a Kajabi, ClickFunnels, something like that. And that's not a problem. But I recommend your actual front end, just keep it on WordPress. And within Elementor, there's a native form builder, and you can build your form however you like it. If you're not ready for that yet, then you might actually be better off with some sort of easy template, whether it's most email providers actually have landing pages included, like ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit, you can do those. And the more advanced ones like Go High Level, etc. Those work perfectly well, but they aren't going to rank on Google. So I generally recommend, like I say, build your website on WordPress, put all your pages out there for all the searches people are making, and then you can test out all your different landing pages and different forms within that. But if you're just starting out, then just a simple form is fine. But what I do recommend is you actually include a phone number as well as the email address. I'm seeing more and more brands now switching over to using SMS and WhatsApp automations, and that's because email just gets ignored. So many coaches I've spoken to are all saying emails just aren't working. It's still very valuable, but their engagement is definitely not what it used to be. And I think people are just fed up. We scroll through our inbox and don't really open anything. Where I saw a great quote which said something like, people check their emails, but they get text messages. So WhatsApp, text, you get that up on your lock screen, so there's no avoiding it. So that's really powerful. If your lead magnet is good, people won't mind putting a phone number in. Ideally, you want some sort of validation in there to make sure it's a real phone number. But in reality, if people don't want to do it, they're not going to do it, and they'll put in a fake number. It's not the end of the world. But if you can see you've got a real number, then do try and call them as soon as possible. Again, I've tinkered around with all sorts of different cloud phone systems for a sales team. Things like Just Call was my favorite so far. There's WhatsApp automation platforms, SMS automation platforms, but you don't want to worry too much about all that tweaking. Again, focus on sales and marketing. So your form gets filled in, you get a notification, you can see it's a real number. So honestly, just phone that number as soon as you can. And if you're not in the position to do that, send them a message and make it really obvious that it is actually you sending it and not an automation. If you're selling a high ticket product that's 10 grand, it is worth you or your sales team spending a good couple of minutes a day just phoning up everyone as soon as they come in. Newsletter campaigns. Again, it's really important if you do build an email list to keep it engaged, keep it warm, and keep delivering value. Most people don't do it and don't do it very effectively. It is a grind, so if you're not at that 6-figure level yet, I wouldn't worry. Just focus on building that audience. What you can do, though, is every time you basically produce some new content, whether it's a blog post, a YouTube video, you can then fire it off to that list. And that's one of those tricks, like I say, for getting engagement on a YouTube video as soon as it goes live. If you can get 100 views on your YouTube video as soon as you hit publish and encourage them to comment, like, subscribe, then you're going to get much more traction on your YouTube video. And that then builds your audience and more people join your list. And it's that virtuous cycle. So the faster you sort of growth hack that, the better. But what I wouldn't do is worry about sitting down, emailing your list all the time, unless you really have something good and valuable to offer. Now, search engine optimization. I'll run through this briefly. This is my area of expertise. So keyword research is, like I say, finding out what people are already searching for. Then you have on-page optimization. So Google is just a machine. Most coaches whose websites I audit, they'll have their main landing page and they'll only have 400 words on it. Whereas if you look at all the top competitors for executive coach, for example, they'll have 2,000 to 3,000 words on it. So I use what are called correlational tools that will take your keyword, like executive coaches, and then look at all your competitors and work out all the commonalities that are currently working for them. So that's the word count, the headings, related keywords. Most people talk about targeting one keyword. That's 10 years old. Google looks for basically entities. Google doesn't really understand the language, but it does understand the relationships between stuff. So if you've got an article on the top 10 business coaches, you should probably mention Tony Robbins in there. Otherwise, Google can see your website, your content isn't really complete. So by looking at your top 10 competitors, you can include exactly what you should include. Now that way, you can kind of growth hack it. And so do an article on top 10 business coaches, best business coaches, put yourself at the top. But if you're fulfilling all those other criteria, then that will still be a good page in Google's eyes. So these tools are really powerful. If you go to my website, then I've got examples of how you can use this. Then we have link building. So basically, when you're building your brand, you want to do PR and outreach that actually links back to your website, because Google partly looks for the quality and relevance of your content. Are you targeting best business coach? Does your best business coach page fulfill all these criteria that your competitors are using? But then how are you going to outrank your competitors? Google looks at other websites linking to you, each one as votes of confidence in your trust and authority, basically. So if a website has 10 websites been mentioned in blogs and articles, a page that's got 100 links pointing at it is going to be much better than one with 10 links pointing at it. So that's what we actually do. The main deliverable for my service is we actually conduct PR and outreach to get high-ticket coaches more links into your website by getting you mentioned on more trusted publications around the internet. But again, there is a correct way to do this. It's very easy to go onto Fiverr, and you'll see for $30 you'll get 100 backlinks. Now, backlink is actually a terrible terminology, because a link could be anything. You go on to create a fake Tumblr blog, put a link on it, and that might be the type of link someone sells on Fiverr for $10. Whereas we can get you a placement on a really high-ranking publication, but that's obviously going to cost several $100s. So there are some links that are good and give you lots of benefit, and there are links that will do nothing. There are also some links that could actually do serious damage to your website and completely remove you from the Google results. So do not trust shady link sellers, those people who email you saying, I give you quality guest posts, etc. Make sure you use someone you trust and respect, who actually has a solid process. We have a long checklist we use. It's about 15 to 20 steps at every site we outreach and we begin a negotiation with. We'll then go through and check all sorts of different criteria to make sure it's a high quality link that is going to push you higher up the search results, and it's not going to cause any detriment, whilst delivering maximum value for money and more bang for your buck. Then there's local SEO. That's basically the map pack. Now, this doesn't apply to many coaches, but in some cases, you can find these location-based keywords. So it might be public speaking coach Ontario. I've seen that come up before. And in a lot of those searches will trigger the Google Maps pack, which is that listing of local businesses. Now, the great thing about that is it tends to be very low competition. You can normally rank on that quite happily. So basically, you just need to build that profile, and then it's really not that difficult to actually rank on it. You want to get people to give you some reviews, make sure the reviews actually mention your keyword, so public speaking coach Ontario, but generally it's not that difficult. Now, before I go any further, I do have another bonus for you. So again, if you search Power Lever Method, then I'd like to invite you to my Power Lever audit. So we only have limited places available because I do each one personally myself, but this is where I go through your website and work out everything that's holding you back in Google. So what the Power Lever method involves, we identify what your dream client is searching for on Google. We write the kind of content that Google loves. We make Google see you as an authority with those PR links I mentioned. And then we have a process for refining and optimizing that over time until you achieve profit and impact. Hundreds of hot leads every month are already looking to buy from you. So put in your details here, the Power Lever audit, and it's in detail 15-20 minutes, and I go into great depth about exactly what's holding your website back and what you can implement today to build your 7-figure coaching business. Now, the mistake a lot of coaches make with SEO is, as we all do, we get distracted. We like to think we've truly tested something, but in reality, we tried it, but did we actually go hard on it? Not really. And success comes from doing things consistently, effectively for a long period of time. I know Alex Hormozy has done a lot of content around this lately, saying you discover a new shiny object, you try it out, you start encountering difficulties, then you get distracted, try something else. And we're all doing this all the time with marketing channels. Now, with SEO, I would say you can completely dominate this space because the coaching niche is really not that competitive. So, for instance, public speaking coach, there's 1,000 searches per month in the US, and it's not competitive at all. You don't really need many links in order to actually rank for that. And yet you can be selling these $10,000 programs plus on the back of that. A single speaking engagement is worth a huge amount of money. So if you can enable speakers to actually make the best and secure more of them, and then sell more services off the back of a speaking engagement, then that's a really valuable service. So people are going to be willing to spend $10,000 plus very easily for that. Why is it not competitive? People don't know about the power lever method and the immense power that it actually has. And let me just show you that with that PR and outreach example. So when I talk about people doing things half-heartedly, I'll often talk to coaches and they'll say, yes, we've had some PR, we've been on podcasts, so we do have a few links to our websites. Now that's all well and good, but don't forget a single PR link. It's not going to actually make that much of a difference because you need to be building links consistently over time for Google to realize. I know Google's just a machine, but it's still trained to realize patterns. And it can see if you're getting 5 to 10 links consistently every single month and an increasing number of links, then you're building your trust and popularity over time. Whereas a single placement, a single link is not going to make that much difference. So here's some of our case studies from my service. So this was again in the financial niche. So again, high value home insurance, and they had a good page of content. So it was getting some traction. This is the organic traffic, but it wasn't really doing anything. But then as soon as we started building links to it, getting these placements on high quality websites, it just took off. Google suddenly realizes, yeah, this is a trusted, respectable page with a good reputation. So let's put it on page one. So traffic increased 5,600%. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, these keywords do have a value based on if you were to run Google Ads to them, here's how much it would cost per click. So I can tell you from experience, SEO for coaches costs about $20 per click, $25. So that's why I much prefer to rank organically for it. So the equivalent cost of this traffic would have been $3,200 per month, but they achieved that with just 12 links. So it was about 3 links per month over 4 months, and not a big spend. And because of that, every single month they're getting $3,200 per month in traffic value. But it's from organic. It's what I call digital real estate. They've got that position on Google, and they're going to keep that well into the future now. Same thing here. This was one of their main products. Again, only 11 links. So that increased traffic by 740%. It was kind of up and down, kind of flatlining. But about a month after we started building the links, they really started to kick in and it took off. So that traffic value was $10,000 per month. And again, it's just what I said earlier about position 1 gets double the traffic position 2, which gets double the traffic position 3. If you can move from the bottom page 1 to the middle and then the top of page 1, there are exponential returns there. So you might look at the cost of high quality links and PR and think, $2,000 a month, that's big ambition. But if you translate that into, I will then be getting $5,000 per month of traffic value without spending on ads, and that's going to carry on well into the future, then that's huge, that's valuable. So it's worth investing in those high quality placements from someone you trust. Don't think SEO is just stuff a few keywords on a page and buy some links on Fiverr, because that's not going to work. That's not going to get you the results you deserve and your dream clients deserve. Ultimately, what I say to people, the whole point of this whole process of the power lever method is your clients are already searching for you. They have problems and they need you to solve them. And you need to make sure you show up for them and you can solve them rather than one of your competitors. So if we go back to the course. So final pitch. Yes, if you search power lever method and then go to the top where it says free audit, then fill in your details there. And I will tell you why aren't hot leads finding you on Google, and you can uncover the truth with the Power Lever SEO video audit for free. It's delivered within 48 hours. It is from me. You'll see my face in the little bubble. And then you'll have an actionable roadmap from there. So that brings us on to paid advertising. Now, the biggest trend at the moment is Facebook ads. Has been for a number of years. And again, there's this magical dream that you can spend on Facebook ads and get referrals that way, get leads. And now that can work in a theoretical situation, but as many of us know, you set up your ads, you spend $500, and you might get a few leads in, and then you find it's fake email addresses, fake phone numbers, and no one's really interested. Before we come on to that, let's just go through the different types of advertising. So Google Ads I've already covered a bit. Now, the wonderful thing about search is these people already want you, they're already ready to buy from you, so you can pay Google to put you at the top for that search result. Now, the problem with that is it is really expensive. Like I say, in my case, SEO for coaches, I thought that was quite niche. Still $25 per click, because all these SEO companies were bidding on anything that mentioned SEO. And it's going to be the same case for you. So I suspect for most coaching businesses, Google Ads is just not really the right answer. Now, Facebook ads, the issue with Facebook ads is you've really got to train your pixel. So some people recommend using niche audience targeting. Some people say just leave your audience wide open and let Facebook try and optimize and find your audience for you. Either way, the important thing is to have your pixel set up on the website and make sure all your conversion tracking is there. Normally based on form fills. So if you have your lead magnet, once you've tested what's an effective lead magnet that works for you, then make sure if someone downloads that lead magnet, it fires the conversion pixel, and then Facebook knows that's a good lead for you. Ideally, you want to set up the full funnel so that someone who actually buys from you also becomes a purchase rather than a lead. And then the idea is you can scale that up. In reality, I've been told that basically not only does it take a lot of testing, but you've also got to commit a really long period of time to it. So definitely 3 to 6 months, again, testing different placements, but crucially populating your pixel so that Facebook can get enough conversion data about what really works in terms of the audience. Now, in terms of your messaging, the best advice I've always been given is, again, you want a physical representation of your product, whether it's the lead magnet or, so in my case, I've got SEO video audits. But for me, I make sure that, as you saw on the previous screen, it's a laptop, an iPad. It gives you an idea of a physical object rather than something ethereal. And the same thing with coaching programs. I think that's why you see across the internet, even today, online courses, you still see the cardboard box with the disc and that sort of thing. What else? You want to call out your audience very early on, so in both the description and often in the graphic as well. If you're targeting, I don't know, executives in the construction space, then make sure you say calling your executives in the construction space. In terms of actually structuring the ad, I generally go with ChatGPT, and I'll basically say, you're a pro copywriter. Give me ideas for hooks, headlines, and you want to test long form and short form content. But generally, what most people in the space seem to use is a single graphic with a hook, and then a longer form paragraph for the sales copy. And that could be more like a traditional sales letter, basically. And the best framework I heard was you want to include who this is for, who this is not for, and of course you can tailor that to basically appeal to your target audience. So this is for dream outcome, and this is not for lazy people who don't take action, this sort of thing. And then remarketing. Now this is really important. Now that initial Facebook ad that goes out to build your audience, that's going to be quite expensive. But once you have people on your site, once you have more than 1,000 visitors a month, hopefully from a mix of organic and paid, then you can retarget that audience very cheaply. You've built that custom audience. Now, the recommendation there is basically you fill your Facebook ads, and you can use other platforms as well, with all sorts of different value add content. It can be you doing organic stuff, how to, proper content, so how to achieve X, how to do this, how to do that. And it could also be other offers. It could be your high ticket offer, it could be your lead magnets. But the point is, as soon as someone lands on your website, they'll then get followed around for the next few weeks. They'll get the impression that you are everywhere. Now, this is very powerful because, of course, the way the internet works is we get these sort of micro celebrities where someone could be in a niche where they constantly find out about this person who's the absolute guru in their space, but their friend doesn't know anything about them. So I've definitely found that I might have signed up for an ebook years ago, and in my inbox ever since then, I've been getting these emails from them, and I have this perception that this person is a really big guy, celebrity. I could mention it to another marketer, and they've got no clue who I'm talking about. So that's the kind of effect we're going for. I actually experienced this quite early on, where I was going to events, I was posting online, showing up on podcasts, things like this. and top people in my industry I met up with, and they'd say, "You are blowing up everywhere right now." I think, I'm really not. I go to events, I post it on Facebook, and I do a bit of PR and outreach. Yeah, so you can achieve the same effect. Anyone who discovers you and comes onto your website, make sure that they get plenty of coverage all about you for the next few weeks. And that's all through the remarketing. And that comes down to make sure your pixel's set up. So obviously you want to make sure the pixel is there on the site so you can build that audience, but also make sure you train Facebook to identify leads and then conversions. Then copywriting. Years ago, I would have said, copywriting is a great skill and really important. Now I just say it's still important, but ChatGPT is actually really good at it. So I will often prompt ChatGPT saying, "You are a pro copywriter," or even a direct response copywriter, which someone like Dan Kennedy, all these greats who have worked with things like supplements, all these really competitive niches, and they're basically the A-bomb when it comes to copywriting. So I can put in my crappy attempt at ad copy and say, "Are you worried about blank? Get my blank," and it will come back with this beautifully crafted sales letter, and that could be my landing page, my Facebook ad, etc. Now, also with ads, you do want to actually include some friction. Now, normally you get told about user experience that you want to make everything really easy, but when you're doing a high-ticket coaching offer, you actually want to make sure you're getting the right people, not the volume of people. So most people recommend using native Facebook forms. Some people use separate forms on their website. Whichever way you do it, I said earlier about take a phone number, that's one step. But you can actually go further than that to make sure that anyone who actually makes it through to the end, whether it's to get a call with you or to get your lead magnet, even just going straight into the high ticket offer, if that's what you're testing and promoting, make sure they've got to jump through a few hoops. So the standard I see now is I'll click on the ad, and then you'll have the call out saying, "This is for X marketing agencies," whatever. And then you'll click the button, it brings up the form, and it says, "This is for marketing agencies. Do not fill this. If you're not one of these people, if you're not your core audience, then do not fill in the form and exit this page." It's really pushy, but kind of gives a sense of scarcity that this is not someone who's desperate and looking for as many leads as they can. So I'm much more exclusive, who only wants to work with the right people. So again, there's that psychological thing about, unfortunately, people want what we can't have. So if someone's being a bit pushy on their landing page, that can actually, you need to test it, but it can actually work out in your favor. And then the actual form fields, not only do I recommend the phone number, but I'd also include things like dream outcome, revenue. Are you able to commit to this? Are you able to commit to that? Some of the common ones I see are things like, are you prepared to take action straight away? Anything with a call booking, it's normally said that you should include basically this text that says, you only get one chance, so make sure you're in a clear, quiet space, taking this seriously. If you don't show up, then we won't work with you again. It can come across as quite blunt, but you can also phrase it in a nicer way, so it just comes across as good boundaries. Now, what all of this does, it makes sure that anyone who actually gets through to getting that call, first of all, they're primed and ready. They know that you're not desperate. They know that you know your worth. But also, they've already had to make an effort, basically. So that's the whole point about friction. If you're giving away your lead magnet to everyone, it's going to be very difficult to actually qualify your leads. Whereas if on that form, you made it very clear that only this type of person can actually complete the form, and even they have got to take several steps, tell me your revenue, tell me what you're doing, this sort of thing, then that's really powerful. Then we have sales funnels and conversion optimization. Now, this is quite a late stage. I wouldn't recommend this until you're in the good mid-six figures or so and have sustainable lead generation. So a website that's ranking in Google and getting lots of traffic, or YouTube videos getting lots of traffic, a paid marketing campaign that's getting results. Once you've got that, you can start testing and optimizing. So you only really want to run small tests, basically. Don't try and use all sorts of different variables, like different headline, different image, because you get completely confused about what's working and what's not. So at any one time, early on, you can be a bit broader. So for instance, you might want to test a long form sales page versus a short form sales page. Also test different lead magnets, like I mentioned. Test different forms, low friction, high friction. But you really do need lots of volume to actually make these insights clear. And in terms of the sales funnels, This is basically, again, that journey someone gets put through. And early on, I'd say put them as much of it as the front end as possible. So lead magnets, crucially, once they get the lead magnet, you might want to include a tick box or something like that about, would you like to further explore how you can achieve your dream outcome, which is basically a sign to you that this person they want more than done for you, basically. But your thank you page is incredibly important. So many coaches, it'll either be a pop-up that says, thank you, form was submitted, check your email, or just redirect saying thank you very much. That page is incredibly powerful because everyone who completes your form and is therefore a hot lead, they then land on that form and see it prominently. So you ideally want to build in some sort of extra offer here. It could be something like book a call, buy a course, something like that. You can also include things like, again, enhancing scarcity or improving deliverability. So instructions about go into your inbox and add us to your contacts so that we don't go into junk, things like that. It could be check your phone, we've sent you a text message, or send us an email, send us a text to confirm that you've got this, basically. All sorts of things you can test there, but remember that's really prime real estate. But ideally, you want to make money early on. So if you do have some sort of low ticket offer that will at least pay for your advertising, then that's a good place to put it. So if you've had one lead magnet and it's, I don't know, your checklist to achieve X, then number 2, maybe it's download my video course on creating the best Instagram reels. And it could be $50, make it an offer. So anyone who's completed this form should be $200. It's now only $50, something like that. And you should get some good conversion on that. Now, measuring marketing performance and KPIs. Analytics, unfortunately, has had a rough time lately with cookie tracking, things like that. So it used to be everyone was obsessed with Google Analytics and it would tell you what you needed to know. Now, J4, it's a bit clunky. No one really gets it. Ideally, you do want to reach this point where you have money spent, and that could be anything, SEO, paid ads, YouTube, and then the revenue at the end from attributed to each channel. Now, in reality, it's quite difficult to achieve that. And again, you need volume to actually show that. But generally, I would keep an eye on, certainly if you're at early to mid stage, so again, mid 6 figures, basically just cost per lead. How much are you? Generally, it can be just a ballpark. This is one of those things where I don't recommend you get too caught in the weeds about it. Don't get paralyzed. Don't think you can't start a marketing campaign until you have perfect analytics across the board. Just do the work and you'll be able to tell very roughly, I spent this much time, effort, and money on this channel, and I got this many calls out of it, this many leads. I tried this channel, the leads were terrible, no one picked up the phone. I tried another channel, I got 2 qualified calls out of it. So that's really all I care about with measuring marketing performance. When it comes to SEO, it's really quite simple. Where am I ranking on Google and how much traffic I'm getting from that? And then within the tools within your website, you should be working out how many downloads of the lead magnet you're getting from each page view. And then hopefully you'll be able to work out a conversion of how many downloaded the lead and then signed up for an actual call. So hopefully this has been useful for you. If it has, or if not, do comment below. I do check the comments and try and reply with useful advice. There's only so much I can cram into a relatively short video. I just wanted to actually deliver some actionable steps rather than the standard webinar format of here's why you should do it, but I'm not actually going to tell you what to do until you sign up for my course. So focus on your audience. What are their pain points? What do they need to achieve? And really double down on crafting an offer that suits that audience. Try and make it a no-brainer. You can offer guarantees, things like that. So if they turn up to everything and implement everything, if not, and it doesn't work, they get the money back, but they have to have attended everything. Focus on relatively few channels. So you do want to build a bit of your personal brand early on, but otherwise focus on a core sales channel, take that demographic, what are they Googling, what are they searching on YouTube, address those questions with content. From that, you can then start looking into page strategies. Again, pain points, you can therefore present lead magnets that provide solutions to those problems, or at least a sampler of your solution to that problem. And I've got a final bonus for you here, actually, before you go. And it comes down to your mechanism. If you're already a 6-figure coach, you might have heard this before. This was some of the best advice I ever heard when it came to crafting a good offer. And it's basically having a good name, a good brandable name for your framework and process. So in my case, I just do SEO for coaches, but that sounds commodified. It sounds like I'm just the same as every other SEO agency, and most of them are charlatans. It doesn't really tell you anything special. Whereas in reality, my process is unique to me, so I might as well come up with a name for it. So that's why my book is called The Power Lever Method. That's because my way of executing SEO for coaches follows some really quite strict steps that do form the power lever method. Now, most coaches, it's the same thing. Your insight, your way of delivering it, your overall approach is unique to you and is going to differ from everyone else's, and therefore outcomes will be different. So come up with a catchy name for your offering. So don't just say, I help business owners achieve X. Say, I help business owners achieve X through my entrepreneurial alchemy method, something like that. That's probably already exists, actually. I hope I haven't trodden anyone's toes there. Now, the golden opportunity I found for this was actually ChatGPT. ChatGPT, again, if you prompt it saying you're a pro copywriter, it is really good at this. So let's exit this because I'm done, and I'll show you an example of this. So if we go to ChatGPT, I am a coach helping couples with their finances. So give ChatGPT a bit more information. Enjoy the present and dive with zero. Fantastic book, all about living for the present, but also plan for later life. Now, I'd be quite happy with this as a coaching program. So I'd already have gone onto my tool and worked out what kind of questions people are asking Google around couples helping with their finances, but also balancing them. They will exist. They'll be quite small. They'll be quite niche. But I've got a high ticket offer that works squarely for that audience. So if there's only 50 searches a month, I want those 50 searches because they'll want me. Then I say you are a pro copywriter. Let's say direct response copywriter. Give me a mechanism for my framework. Now, hopefully this works. ChatGPT can always be a bit random. I'm also using GPT-4, the premium version, which I do recommend. Okay, it seems to be working. Here we go. So, the Live Now, Secure Tomorrow blueprint. Financial intimacy assessment. There's your lead magnet. Present joy index. I like it. Okay, so you're already seeing how this is turning out. So on your website, for all your blogs, you can have the lead magnet at the top, the same lead magnet that you promote via Facebook ads, saying, take our financial intimacy assessment. They will then deliver you your present joy index. This is all stuff that's just going to completely set you aside from your competitors. So anyone who comes through your funnel, they're not getting... First of all, it's a lot more appealing when they see financial intimacy assessment, present joy index, zero legacy ledger. There's curiosity there. These things don't exist. They're saying, what's that? I want to know what that is. Now, normally it would actually give me a list of mechanisms to choose from. So give me more like the Live Now, Secure Tomorrow blueprint. Today's bliss, tomorrow's blessing. Immediate pleasure pulse. I was just coming up with a whole new framework, zero regret roadmap. You get the idea. Let's stop generating. Go with Live Now, Secure Tomorrow blueprint and write me the Facebook ad as a long form sales letter. Discover the secret to living fully today while securing your tomorrow. Dear couples, again, call out your audience. Do you ever find yourself caught in the tug of war between the present and saving for the future? You're not alone. Many couples grapple with the challenge of balancing today's pleasure with tomorrow's promises. But what if there was a way to do both seamlessly? Now, before we go on, you can see it says dear couples. I say call out your audience. Couples, that's not specific enough. So I would imagine if we're doing a high-ticket coaching program, we need to try and address higher net worth couples. But obviously that's a bit bland. We don't really want to say that directly to them. Instead of dear couples, use a different way of calling out the audience who are high net worth and likely to be interested in saving for later life while enjoying current joys. See what that does. Affluent visionaries. Okay, this might be getting a little bit creative now, but you get the idea. In terms of the sales letter, call to action, click below to your free financial intimacy assessment. Special offer, free intimacy assessment for the first 50 couples who sign up. So it's scarcity there. Take action now. Okay, now, again, I'm just playing now, but I mentioned about how when someone signs up for a lead magnet, you might want to then actually try and sell them something. Best thing, I would just say for a high-ticket coaching program, just book a call. Don't worry about anything else. You want to get them on the phone. They'll like you or they won't. And you can then pitch them a high-ticket offer, and one high-ticket offer sale is going to be worth much more than 20 low-ticket offer sales. But if I did want to bridge that gap with a lower ticket, again, I just ask, give me ideas for a low-ticket product I can sell as a bonus for people who have downloaded my lead magnet. Mini financial date night kits. Downloadable package that includes conversation starters, budgeting templates, and fun activities to discuss finances in a relaxed setting. Financial affirmation cards. Video masterclass, money talks for couples. 1 hour recorded session where you discuss common financial pitfalls couples face and how to navigate them. Well, I've just done an hour-long video. Not sure anyone would be willing to pay for it, but if you spend a couple of hours actually working on a better script, then video masterclass, money talks for couples, that could be a really good kind of bridge. So anyone who gets the free lead magnet, you then say, right, you're taking the first step, here's the next step. And of course, as part of that course, obviously you want to deliver value, but at the end, you can then say, the purpose of the course is basically to demonstrate your expertise. So you then can say, if you want to make this tailored for you, I have one-to-one coaching to hold you accountable and make sure you actually put this into action. So hopefully this is all valuable too. Like I say, do just go onto Google, search power lever method, and you've got all my resources there. So we have the power lever audit. I will go through your website and work out exactly what's holding you back from ranking on Google for the clients who are already searching for you. Trust me, it doesn't matter what your niche is, there'll be hundreds of people already looking for you. You've just got to show up for them. Then we've got the free coach SEO keywords. If you're just starting out, or if you do have an established website, then the first step could just be you might not be targeting the right stuff. So I'm trying to keep this updated over time. My team is keeping an eye out for any particular trends in the market where new keywords are popping up all the time. You can get 3 free chapters from my book. I'm glad I pronounced that right. It's the Power Lever Method. It's bestseller. I actually outranked Dan Kennedy on Amazon for a time. Not for long, but I'm still taking that as a win. So you can get 3 chapters today that already give you some really good secrets to ranking on Google. And then finally, we have my ChatGPT prompt architect. Now, I've shown you a bit of how I use ChatGPT, but this is how I use it for SEO blog posts. So take your keyword from my keyword list and then create a surf template. So this takes you to a correlational tool that'll take your keyword, give you the recipe you need to rank for it, and then you copy and paste from there. So put in the keyword, the recommended word count. That will work out how many ChatGPT prompts it'll actually take to fulfill the full word count, because ChatGPT's got quite a small word limit. The language, and then this is where we copy and paste all the keywords the tool recommends, paste them in here. The tool also tells you how many times to use each one. So paste that in there. Q&As. Tone, if in doubt, you can just put SEO or authoritative and it will understand. Desired action, call to action. When you press submit, it will spit out a full ChatGPT prompt at the bottom that I've tweaked that when you put it into ChatGPT, it will create a perfect page of content if you just keep prompting it, keep writing until it completes all the sections. And that blog post should be about 2,000 to 3,000 words long, and it will have a minimum score on this tool of 70 out of 100. Now, from doing hundreds of Power Lever audits, I can tell you most coaching businesses, their content only scores around 30 to 40. So if you can produce a page with a minimum of 70, which is what we enforce in-house, we do content for free as part of our service, and every single page we write has to have a minimum score of 70. So if you do that, you are very likely to smash it with competition. Now, SEO is only one channel, but of course, once you have that organic traffic and you've claimed that digital real estate, like I say, start now so you can actually get the benefit of it 6 months down the line. You can then retarget that audience very powerfully and get them totally dominate their space, basically. So they land on your website, and for the next few weeks, all they see is you everywhere on Facebook. I have a contact who's done this very effectively in the spirituality niche. They rank really well organically, but then what they do is they're spending $100,000 a month on Facebook retargeting ads, not outreach ads, just retargeting from the organic traffic. So a person comes in from Google, then gets retargeted, and from that process, they're making $500,000 a month for the spirituality product. So it's that combination of finding the right audience by taking people who are already searching for the product, already searching for help, getting on the website, hopefully converting them on the website. But if not, they then get retargeted for weeks and weeks until that person just entirely associates that problem with that solution. They buy that solution when they're ready to. Okay, any problems? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please comment below. I do monitor and check them and look forward to giving you more advice.